Welcome to the Sunday School Reading Channel. If this reading is a blessing to you, please like, share, and subscribe. Our lesson for March 26, 2023 is entitled, One with a Mental Illness. The devotional reading comes from 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 1 through 6. Background scriptures: Mark chapter 5, verses 1 through 20, and Luke chapter 8, verses 26 through 39. Print passage: Mark chapter 5, verses 1 through 13, and 18 through 20. Key verse: Mark chapter 5, verse 20. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 1 reads as follows: By the humility and gentleness of Christ, I appeal to you, I, Paul, who am timid when face to face with you, but bold toward you when away. Verse 2. I beg you that when I come, I may not have to be as bold as I expect to be towards some people who think we live by the standards of this world. Verse 3. For though we live in the world, we do not wage war as the world does. Verse 4. For the weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. Verse 5. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. Verse 6. And we will be ready to punish every act of disobedience once your obedience is complete. Background scriptures: Mark chapter 5, verses 1 through 20. Verse 1. They went across the lake to the region of the Gerasenes. Verse 2. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an impure spirit came from the tombs to meet him. Verse 3. This man lived in the tombs, and no one could bind him anymore, not even with a chain. Verse 4. For he had often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Verse 5. Night and day, among the tombs and in the hills, he would cry out and cut himself with stones. Verse 6. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him. Verse 7. He shouted at the top of his voice, What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In God's name, don't torture me. Verse 8. For Jesus had said to him, Come out of this man, you impure spirit. Verse 9. Then Jesus asked him, What is your name? My name is Legion, he replied, for we are many. Verse 10. And he begged Jesus again and again not to send them out of the area. Verse 11. A large herd of pigs was feeding on the nearby hillside. Verse 12. The demons begged Jesus, Send us among the pigs, allow us to go into them. Verse 13. He gave them permission, and the impure spirits came out and went into the pigs. The herd, about 2,000 in number, rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. Verse 14. Those tending the pigs ran off and reported this in the town and countryside, and the people went out to see what had happened. Verse 15. When they came to Jesus, they saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons sitting there, dressed in his right mind, and they were afraid. Verse 16. Those who had seen it told the people what had happened to the demon-possessed man, and told about the pigs as well. Verse 17. Then the people began to plead with Jesus to leave their region. Verse 18. As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed began to go with him. Verse 19. Jesus did not let him, but said, "Go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you." Verse 20. So the man went away and began to tell in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and all the people were amazed. Background scripture, Luke chapter 8, verses 26 through 39. And it reads as follows. Verse 26. They sailed to the region of the Gerasenes, which is across the lake from Galilee. Verse 27. When Jesus stepped ashore, he was met by a demon-possessed man from the town. For a long time, this man had not worn clothes or lived in a house, but had lived in the tombs. Verse 28. When he saw Jesus, he cried out and fell at his feet, shouting at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, don't torture me." Verse 29. But Jesus had commanded the impure spirit to come out of the man. Many times it had seized him, and though he was chained hand and foot and kept under guard, he had broken his chains and had been driven by the demon into the solitary places. Verse 30. Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "Legion," he replied, because many demons had gone into him. Verse 31. And they begged Jesus repeatedly not to order them to go into the abyss. Verse 32. A large herd of pigs was feeding there on the hillside. The demons begged Jesus to let them go into the pigs, and he gave them permission. Verse 33. When the demons came out of the man, they went into the pigs, and the herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and was drowned. Verse 34. When those tending the pigs saw what had happened, they ran off and reported this in the town and countryside. Verse 35. And the people went out to see what had happened. When they came to Jesus, they found the man from whom the demons had gone out sitting at Jesus' feet, dressed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Verse 36. Those who had seen it told the people how the demon-possessed man had been cured. Verse 37. Then all the people of the region of the Gerasenes asked Jesus to leave them, because they were overcome with fear. So he got into the boat and left. Verse 38. The man from whom the demons had gone out begged to go with him. But Jesus sent him away, saying, verse 39, "Return home and tell how much God has done for you." So the man went away and told all over town how much Jesus had done for him. This concludes our reading for March 26, 2023. I will end this broadcast by reading Psalms 1. Please read with me. Verse 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. Verse 2. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. Verse 3. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Verse 4. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Verse 5. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. Verse 6. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. Thank you for listening. If this reading has been a blessing to you, please like, share, and subscribe. And until we meet again, may the Lord bless you abundantly.